Hello, everyone. Today I'm speaking to Tyler, also known as Astral. He's going to be talking about his experiences with UAPs and the after effects. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this video belong solely to the speakers and not necessarily to UAP Medical Coalition, its employees, volunteers, or affiliates. All medical references are for informational purposes only. This is not a consultation or therapy session. This content can be triggering for some and is not meant for children. Thank you for joining me today, Tyler. Can you please tell people a little bit about who you are and what you experienced with UAP?
Sure, absolutely. Well, my name's Tyler. I also go by Astral. I'm a musician. I consider myself a researcher, futurist, and help out organizations with marketing, nonprofits, and how I got involved in the field and interested as in the experiencer standpoint was originally from a precognitive dream that I had. So I had a dream when I was in college that I was robbed, actually, and so 3 days later, that event actually took place. And so the exact same scenario that happened in my dream. And afterwards, it totally shifted my perspective. It changed. It was paradigm shifting for me, and it got me very curious into anomalous experiences, paranormal experiences. And so I really started to study the uh, parapsychology, dreams, near death experiences, extrasensory perception. So when I moved, right around to where I live, there's a research center that I got involved with and started just learning about these experiences. Through that, I learned also about CE5, HICE, human initiated contact, and I was just driven to learn more myself through these experiences. And so I went out multiple times to try and experience this. And for a UAP experience, about the fifth time, I went out with my brother and we were in a secluded area. We, kind of went through the protocol of what you were supposed to in terms of playing some of the sounds. And we saw a light up in the sky, and funny enough, instead of me grabbing my phone and recording the orb and the light that appeared, I flashed at it twice with my flash light on my phone, and it flashed twice back at us. And my brother and I were going crazy. We're like, this is awesome. What is going on? This is it. And so I kind of composed myself and did it again. So I was like, all right, let's try it again. Let's try it again. So flashed it twice again, and it flashed back at us. And so then it sort of disappeared. And that again just fortified my interest in the subject, and it has been researching from a standpoint of not only the experience but learning a lot more about the scientific establishment of some of this stuff. So that's kind of in a nutshell my journey of how I got here through the experiences.
Okay. And what do you feel was your psychological reaction to having that encounter?
Well, originally a lot of my experiences came from traumatic experiences. So I've in the precognitive dreams that I've had, they've related to very traumatic experiences that happened a few days later. Uh, it's it's gotten me to recognize a lot of these type of synchronicities and experiences that happen, and so I pay a lot more attention to them when before I might not have cared or looked into it a little bit more. So it's also given me a lot more openness for other people's experiences and discussions about stuff that I haven't experienced, but other people that in just conversations that I've had and relating to some of the stuff that they talk about, it's gotten me a lot more open to listening to other people's experiences as well.
So it seems, other than having trauma initially, most of your responses to the UAP have been positive.
Yeah, all of my experiences, excuse me, have essentially been positive. Yeah, I haven't had any, and I've study, things like the hitchhiker effect and, Ouija boards and stuff like that. But personally, and I do consider myself somebody who like goes and hunts down that experience. So I heard about out of body experiences and astral projection and lucid dreaming and CE5. And so I wanted to personally explore those myself. And through that exploration, I haven't had any negative experiences.
Okay, so you probably had no reason to seek out therapeutic assistance because you've had positive experiences. Is that correct?
Sure. Well, and I've had family also that has been very acceptive of my exploration of these experiences. So being able to talk with my brother, my sister, and my parents initially about these dreams that I had and these experiences that I had and my interests. So I consider myself a little bit more open in terms of the discussion. Like I'll just go right into some of these conversations. I hold Twitter spaces, so I'm used to having these discussions very regularly. So I'm open more so than maybe some people who would be a little bit more conservative on discussing these topics.
Now, I will ask because you did have a traumatic experience related to that precognitive dream. Did you seek any therapeutic assistance for that?
No, not afterwards. It a lot of it was just self-analysis of me realizing that I had had the dream, but, it was a time in my life, I was young, things were shifting, I was going to college, so I don't even think I really, in my mind at the time, looked for that sort of support, that maybe I could have used, if I had dug a little bit deeper into the experience itself. But I felt like I had a little bit different stuff on my mind at the time to be able to get that.
If you had sought support, do you think you would have told them that you had that precognitive dream?
Yeah, I think so. I think if I had discussed my experience with people who I had just met for the first time to people who I had known all my life. So I'm very open to discussing that. And, it would just be feeling comfortable enough. And I think that's one of the sort of stigmas that's there is feeling comfortable enough for experiencers in general to be able to bring these up in a professional environment.
Did you have any physical effects after your HICE experiences?
No, no physical effects. No, and a lot of it, I relate to it, more so as just like a very chill sky watching. So, we would go out as groups, and that's what I've been doing recently, or more recent is going out with smaller groups of people, and it would be more of like a sky watch atmosphere. So we would go hang out, and I just did a presentation in Roswell where we went out into a soccer field and we presented and did it sort of like a larger group. But in terms of physical effects, or even after, directly after, there's been some interesting sessions that we've done. There hasn't been any, and other people as well. I haven't heard of any physical effects that people have had.
Okay. Um, so if someone were to ever have a negative experience with HICE, what would you recommend to them if they had to speak to a therapist or a doctor about that experience?
Well, I definitely would be more so motivated to be able to talk about a negative experience and as well as a positive experience. But I think going to somewhere like UAP Med and finding a good resource to just be able to understand what you're going through, and is knowledgeable about the situation. Um, in terms of me, if somebody came to me personally, there's and that's what I think could go wrong is people try to get that advice from just personal friends on what to go to. And if there were more resources for experiencers to go through that knew were reliable help, people who are professionals, people who are trained in listening to experiencers, I think it would be a lot more helpful to have people come forward like that.
And it sounds like with HICE, there's a automatic support group because it's not done as an individual for the most part. So is that beneficial to other people doing HICE?
I think it's good to go out with groups of people. A lot of the time when people talk about initially trying it, it's by themselves. But I think it's good to go out with a group just for validation purposes and also for safety, just because I wouldn't want to go out in the middle of the woods by myself either, or a secluded area, just because I'd be scared to be out there anyway. But I think a having a good like-minded group of people just around and exploring these topics and having good conversation and being able to understand each other, even though everybody might have different opinions on things like what's behind the UAP, what is non-human intelligence. I think having openness and those having those conversations and people being able to share these experiences is very important. And one of the things that I try to provide on like Twitter Spaces is just a platform for people to be able to share those experiences.
Since you have been providing support to those people in its Twitter spaces, do you want to give any suggestions to anyone who's trying to figure out how to support other experiencers?
Oh, that's a good question. And I think that if you're looking for support for experiencers, it would be more geared towards having the open ear and being able to provide that platform, whether it's a Twitter space or um, you know, recently with all of the events that have taken place in terms of the hearing and some of the information that have coming out, there's been a lot more people that have been inquisitive uh, that aren't normally interested in this topic. So I think, being a good resource of information and know other people so other people know that when they do get interested in the topic, you're going to be the one that's well researched, that is even he's not going to freak out if some very strange information comes out that is a little bit paradigm shifting for people. So I think just staying ready and also providing a platform for people if they, not to force people into telling their experience in front of others, but I think that some people do like sharing their experience and relating to others, and I think that is very powerful way for people in the community. It's a sense of community that I think is there too for people to help each other out, and so interacting with the community, providing support and platforms to be able to share this stuff, I think is very important.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming and
Sure.
sharing about your experiences and your insights about how to help other experiencers. And really, I appreciate your positivity and openness. Can you please tell people how they can reach you?
Sure. I have a bunch of different projects that I'm working on. I love helping out community members and organizations. For my website, it's theastral.com, astral.com. Most of my activity is also on Twitter. It's under the name Astral. The tag name is at the underscore astral underscore. So feel free to reach out, and that's how you can find and contact me.
Okay. Thank you again. And to everyone listening, thank you so much for listening.